Let's teach this class here. Well, guys, if you guys know from the Devo, that's good. And I'm Eric, and we're going to be teaching you guys how to swim today.
So before we get started, I just wanted to provide a little bit of background on the topic of swimming. So start talking a little bit about the origin of the sport, and then get more into what it's like in our modern culture and the benefits that swimming has for our physical activity. So to start out with, swimming has been around for a while, but it really started getting popular in the 1830s in Britain, actually. And something interesting to know is that the first stroke was actually breaststroke, which is kind of counterintuitive to how we learn swimming nowadays. So if you remember back to early swim class, swim team, the first stroke that you kind of master is the freestyle stroke. That's like the basest. You kind of branch out after that. But swimming really started with the breaststroke. And then fast forward a little bit to about 1896, and swimming gained a lot of popularity, and it was in the first modern Olympics. And since that point, it's grown in popularity. It's added a lot of different strokes, so we have 5 or 6 strokes in the Olympics nowadays. We have different lengths, team events, and so the whole sport has really grown tremendously since its origins. And I also want to talk a little bit about the benefits that swimming can have for our physical activity. So the first thing is it's a great workout. I don't know if any of you guys have gone out and swam for 30 minutes, but it's exhausting, and it's a great cardiovascular workout. You can increase your VO2 max, and there's a ton of other tremendous benefits, and you get to build upper body muscle, which is fun too. But on top of that, it's a fantastic recovery workout. So I know people on our track team here, like Eric yesterday was in the pool doing a recovery workout, and so that basically saves the wear and tear on your joints. So you still get to move around, you get the blood flow, you can aqua jog, you can just swim laps, and you get that movement, get the recovery, while saving your joints from repetitive motions that you might have running around in the track or the soccer field or something like that. So in that way, it's a really good recovery tool, but it's also really fun to do it too. So it's a great exercise on its own.
Yeah, so before we even think about getting you guys on the pool, if you guys could stand up and walk over to the safety regulations on the wall, and we can go over that real quick. So we're only going to read some of these just because like no one here is under the age of 14, but this isn't our facility, this is Westmont's facility, so we want to try to respect these rules as much as possible and respect the facility and kind of clean up after ourselves, and just because they're letting us use this. So Justin, can you read number 1?
No running, pushing, or roughhousing on the deck or in the pool area.
Yeah, so that's really important. The floor is going to be slippery. We just want to keep you guys safe and don't want anyone to get hurt. Blake, can you read number 2?
No diving in the shallow end of the pool.
Yeah, so we're getting into the pool, as tempting as it may seem to just want to dive in. For those of you who already know how to swim, it is only 3.5 feet, so I don't want anyone to crack their head at the bottom of the pool from diving. And then, Carlos, can you read number 3?
The lifeguard is to be notified immediately in case of any incident.
Yeah, so that's our lifeguard over there. Can you wave? So if anything's happening, she's our first responder pretty much. So if you cramp up or if you feel like you can't make it back, she'll come in and save you. And then, Reggie, can you read number 4?
For all persons are prohibited from entering the pool area without a lifeguard.
Yeah, so even if we're here, she's the one who's pretty much responsible for us, so we probably won't be getting to the pool if she's not here. Ellie, can you read number 5?
One person on the diving board at a time. Do you want me to read them?
No, that's fine. Actually, we're going to have no one on the diving board at any point in time. We're going to be doing freestyle, so I know like that looks really fun, and some of you want to do front flips and whatnot, so we're going to lay off from that. Bob, can you read number 6?
No food or glass items will be allowed in the pool area.
Yeah, so I know you didn't know this earlier. Sorry to put you on the spot like that, but Just try not to bring food in here so we can keep this place as clean as possible. And yeah, those are the safety rules. So yeah, please be respectful of these rules just because this is in our facility, and we want to be as respectful to it as possible. And now Trent's going to lead us in a warm-up.
All right, for the warm-up, we're actually going to head over here because this area right here is a little bit wet. Sorry about that. Had to rescue the lane line earlier.
You guys can put your towels down.
So we can go ahead and form 2 lines here. So Brenna, if you want to start a line back here, and then Elliot, if you want to, what's facing this way, correct? And then Elliot, you can put in front of you. Back up a little bit. Nice. Perfect. So we're gonna fill in over here too. Good. And then I'm just gonna lead you guys through a little bit of a warm up and stretching to get us prepared for the exercises today. So the first thing we're gonna do is just legs apart, and we're just gonna be swinging down here, stretching out those hamstrings. All right, come on back up. Next, we're gonna be stretching our left quad, so standing on our right foot, pulling back, flexing the knee. Trying your best to not fall over. You know it's like all right, we're gonna go ahead and switch. So standing on the left leg, flexing the right knee. Now we're just going to get the spine warmed up a little bit, do some rotation here. All right, and then moving on to shoulders, we're going to be doing large arm circles. So going back to start with. What?
Your shoulder.
We're going to go ahead and switch and go forward now.
Yes. Butterfly. Michael Phelps.
All right, and then we're going to do the same thing but smaller arm circles now. So we're really going to get those rotator cuffs fired up, getting them ready to swim, do our freestyle stroke.
We started.
Robert, keep going.
We're going to go ahead and switch, now go the opposite way.
If I have to, you have to.
Okay. That sounds gonna be.
Escalated quickly.
All right, relax.
You think your brother has 5? What?
So we're going to be warming up our neck a little bit next. So we're just going to start with a side bend,
Oh, sitting.
going this way. Go ahead and switch. Get the other side in there.
I feel like that.
All right, good stretching, team. Last exercise to warm up, we're going to be doing push-ups. I just want you guys to do 5, and you can do push-ups on your feet, or you can do them on your knees if you want, but we just want to get that chest warmed up too. So go ahead.
I did not do anything.
I just had my weight.
Quickly.
There you go.
All right, good job, everybody. Does everybody feel like they're warmed up enough?
Yes.
Feel ready to go?
Yeah.
Perfect. Good job. So Eric's gonna take us through a little bit of orientation with the water and getting us acquainted with the lane lines and all that. You should look at yourself.
Yeah, so if you guys want to walk over this way, we can. Yeah, so I'm going to be splitting you guys into assigned lanes. From left to right, we have lane 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So yeah, we pre-assigned you guys. So in lane 1, we're going to have Grace, Haley, and Ellie. So you guys can go ahead and jump in. Just remember not to dive. In lane 2, we have Justin, Blake, and Noah.
Power team.
Yeah. In lane 3, we're gonna have Jordan, Bob, and Reggie.
That's right, baby.
In lane 4, we're gonna have Martha and Marissa.
Single. Private lane.
Yeah, that's right.
And in lane 5, we're gonna have Brenna and Jay. We're missing some people.
What up?
Oh, and then Carlos and Matt, you guys are gonna be.
And then Eric's
No, Eric is not coming. All right. You guys can go ahead and jump in. And then so we're yeah.
You ready? Are we in this one? Yeah.
Got him!
All right, guys. So I know it's kind of cold right now, and maybe some of you guys don't like being in the water, but we're just gonna get you acclimated to the temperature. And the way to do that is pretty much just to dunk yourself. So what we're gonna do is have Trent demonstrate. He's gonna dunk himself in the water and count to 1, 2 Mississippis, count to 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then come up, take a breath, and then repeat that 2 more times. So it's gonna look something like this. So he's gonna do this one more time. Yeah, so you guys can do that at your own pace. You guys might want to spread out a little bit, but yeah, go ahead and do that at your own pace. Come on, Noah, you got this.
How long have you gone?
Let's go, McPhail.
Ah!
Yeah, get on the nose. Come on, McPhail.
1, 3, 2, 1, attack!
And do that a couple times. All right, 2 more, McPhail. How many times?
Good morning. I know.
All right, 1 more, McPhail. I saw you do 2. We're doing 3. Yeah, 3 guys.
Lockers.
All right, 6. So now that you guys are acclimated to water, we want you guys to do this 1 more time. So you have to try to count to 5 Mississippis. So, challenge you can hold hands if you want. It's up to you. But go ahead, do that at your own pace as well.
3 more times?
Just 1
Hold on, I
time.
want to look at your face. I hate you so much.
I'm gonna hold my breath for 5 seconds. That's 55 seconds, less than a minute.
All right, guys, we can get back to the wall now. And so today we want to teach you guys the fundamentals of swimming the backstroke. And the first thing is going to be kicking, and Trent's going to lead you in some kicking drills and learning how to kick properly.
Yeah, so we're going to be learning kicking before we incorporate any of the arm movements or even the breathing techniques. So this first drill does a really good job of dumbing it down, breaking things down into more simpler parts. So it's called a wall kick, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We're going to be holding onto the edge of the wall and in this horizontal position with our legs up, and we're going to be kicking underwater. And so a couple keys for this drill. Number one, we want to be kicking originating with the hip. So we're using our hip muscles rather than our knee muscles. So getting all that range of motion from the hip, keeping the knee relatively straight. And also for the size of the kick, we want to be doing small to medium oscillations like this, but we're going to be keeping them just under the water and bubbling the top of the surface. So if your legs are doing something like this, making a ton of water, splashing all over the place, then that's not going to be ideal. It's going to be a lot less efficient. And then on the contrary side, if we're all the way underwater and we're not horizontal, it's going to have the same effect. It's not going to be as efficient. So again, just bubbling the surface like this. And so we're going to give you guys a little bit of practice time with that. So you can alternate, especially for the groups of 3. So maybe start with 1 or 2 people holding onto the wall. The other person can kind of hang back, watch, and trade off with them. And so we're going to be utilizing these techniques. So remember, keeping the feet just below the water, creating that bubble but not the splashing, and then kicking from our hip. And so you guys can go ahead and get started on that.
Drive through the freaking wall.
Try to keep your hands extended when you're kicking.
Good job, Carlos.
You're doing good.
Thanks, man. I'm really trying.
You want to lift your body up a little more.
Good job, Steve. Good job, Reggie.
You're recording me out there.
All right, let's see it, Reggie. You guys need to take a break. Shut up.
Good job, everybody. So that was a good first round on that, and we're going to take a little bit of a break, and I'm going to kind of recap things, and then we're going to do that once more through, just so we have a really strong foundation to build on and incorporate the other techniques in swimming. So one thing that I'm seeing a lot is people not keeping their body horizontal. So we want to be nice and level with the water. We don't want to be kind of tilted like this, because that'll really come into play later when we're actually swimming forward, and that horizontal position will propel us forward. Anything else you wanted to add, Eric?
No, yeah, I just saw a lot of that, and then I saw a lot of splashing, so try to keep the splashing to a minimum. Do you guys have any questions about this drill? Yeah.
So we're horizontal, but like should sink a little bit so we don't
Yeah,
splash.
so you're not going to be at the top of the water, but your feet are going to be fluttering without breaking the surface, so just kind of causing like a little bit of a bubble at the top.
And you want our arms extended too?
Yeah, so try to keep your arms extended instead of like this, because when you're doing freestyle, your arms aren't going to be like this at all, so try to keep them extended. Did you have a question as well? All right. Yeah, so this time you guys can go for 30 seconds, and then I'll give you guys a break, and then we can do that again, just so you guys aren't fluttering for a couple minutes straight, because then that can get kind of tiring. So I'll let you know when 30 seconds is up, and then I'll give you guys like a 15-second break, and then we can do that again. That's good. All right?
Go right.
Go for it. That's 10 seconds. You guys got 20 more. You guys got it. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up. Got 10 seconds.
5?
No, 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax.
Let's go, Blake.
Yeah, so we're gonna take like another 15 seconds of break and then do that one more time. Yes.
We're gonna do 30 seconds again.
Yeah. Man, you guys really don't get the pool much, huh?
That's almost so I know.
You took the soda.
I will.
I mean, most of you guys said you guys are really comfortable in the water, so.
I just said full.
I said I like it.
All right, guys, back on the wall. You guys got.
Let's go!
This is swim team.
Ready? You guys can start in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Get that extra work.
Let's do that, everybody.
Get right.
Let's go faster. No way.
9 seconds.
Really good.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax.
Oh my god,
Take a little breather. Yeah, it's like we're not even doing the full stroke, and you guys are already kind of getting a workout. So, just to show you kind of how rough swimming is, just the freestyle, which is the most basic stroke.
All right, and so moving on, we're going to be kind of furthering our techniques for kicking. We're going to be utilizing the kickboard next. So Eric here is going to help us demonstrate.
Pass me a kickboard, Jordan.
So for this drill, we're just going to be using half the pool. So we're going to be going down to about the lifeguard tower and then turning back, and we're going to be alternating. So for the groups of 3, you're going to have to trade off, and as well as 2, but 3, you're going to have to, 2 people go, 3 you go. What's that? So we're going to hold the kickboard like this. So hands are holding onto the front of the kickboard, and we can kind of rest our forearms on it. And again, we're going to be in that same horizontal position. So legs are going to be just underneath the water, making bubbles but not splashing. And we're just going to do a nice easy kick down towards the halfway point. So Eric's going to demonstrate for us. Wow! Turn back.
Keep going.
Come on over.
Pretty.
Good job, Eric.
Thank you. Yeah, so when we do this, guys, we're gonna go down, one person go down and back, and then hand off the kickboard to the next person. So we want you guys to observe your other classmates doing it as well. And you guys can go until we tell you it's time. We'll be going for around 4 to 5 minutes. Go for it.
We're winning! We're winning!
Let's
go, baby! Let's go!
I'm all legs, baby. Nice work. That was for the pool.
Let's go, Jay. Keep on going.
This is Jordan. Let's go. What'd you say? Time. It's not even making sense.
You guys can go again, or please go again. Go again. You got the longest break. You get to rest after
do that exactly. like knocks out on one and then I'm like,
Come on, Bob. Come on, Bob.
we
Quit blocking, Bob. Everyone go one more time. Did you really?
I'm actually pretty good. I'm pretty hard. You killed it,
Don't even start with water is wet. Oh my God.
don't even start with me, Marta.
You want to talk like that, Mark? Let's go. What's that? That's a fact. Roger that. You got it, Jordan. Come on, Jordan. You're almost there, Jordan. Come on.
Yeah, guys, that was really good. I saw a lot of you guys doing it right, and some of you guys can use a little more work, but that's totally fine. But one person that I did see do it really well was Bob. And Bob, can you show the class just go down and back? He had some really good flutter kicks, and he wasn't breaking the surface too much. And
He's coach.
yeah, it's really good. So he's building up those little
Switch
his foot breaking the surface.
Wow.
Good job, Bob.
Are you a swimmer?
And then Bob, can you go back for us too?
Bob practiced all 4 days.
He did.
He said he didn't get it.
He was in the pool.
You got his wall kicks in for sure.
Those little bubbles.
Nordics do not lie. I'll tell you that.
All right, guys, let's give Bob a big round of applause.
Yeah, Bob!
Yeah, thanks, Bob. So you guys can put the kickboards back, and I know some of you guys are getting a little cold, so we're gonna submerge ourselves one more time. Just go down for 3 Mississippis and come back up. Just one more time.
Do I pass out?
Mississippis.
You say 3? 57 seconds, less than a minute.
1, 2, 3, back up.
All right. All right, guys. So next, we just did the kicking, and so that's going to be our lower extremity, but we're going to move up to upper extremity in our arms, and so this is why we did a lot of the stretching over there. So when it comes to the arms, that's going to be like 90% of the stroke, where the legs are only 10%, and this is really what's going to propel us. So there's a couple steps when it comes to using your arms, and it's the down sweep, the catch, the in sweep, the up sweep, recovery. So the down sweep is when you have so you're going to start swimming with your arms out, and you guys can imitate this. It'll help a lot. And yeah, so you're going to start with your arms out, and your down sweep is when your hand first gets in the water. And then so your catch is when your hand, when you start to go back a little bit and kind of bring your hand to a 90-degree angle. And so that's going to be the part before you propel yourself forward. The part that's going to propel yourself forward is going to be the in sweep, and that's when you're going to be pushing yourself back while still keeping yourself at a 90-degree angle. And then from there is going to be the up sweep, is when you kind of extend further back. And then you're going to have your relaxation point is when you're going to bring your arm back up, and your recovery is when you're going to come back to your down sweep. And so when you're doing this, you're going to be doing that, and you're going to be switching, alternating arms. So one thing to keep in mind when you're doing this is to keep your fingertips in your recovery stage as close to the water as possible. So you're going through, and you want to kind of keep your fingertips to the water. That makes sense. So you guys can just kind of imitate that motion real quick and just work on that. So Alright guys, do you guys have any questions about the arms? I know it's a little confusing. Yeah, Jay?
So like not as you're coming over your down.
Yeah, so you're coming over and then. So the one thing about the arms is it's really rhythmic, and we're going to incorporate the breathing aspect after. But so, yeah, it's going to be really rhythmic, and you'll find out that when you start swimming, you'll kind of get a feel for it. It's kind of weird right now because we're not moving. Does everyone else have questions? So yeah, one cue I just want you guys to remember is that when you're in your recovery, try to keep your fingertips along the water as much as possible. I mean, you might come up a little bit. And one other thing is that when you're coming back is try to keep your thumb to your armpits as much as possible. Yeah, so if you guys want to imitate that motion one more time, just try to kind of try it out. And now we'll give you guys...
So try to bring that arm a little closer to the armpit.
So yeah, Trent's, okay, that was actually really good, guys. Just remember, try to bring the thumbs to the armpits as much as possible. So Trent is actually going to show us how to do this, going down and back so you guys can see it from a couple of different angles, and hopefully you guys can have a better idea of what it is. So yeah, you can kind of, he's going to come back to you. You can kind of see how he's bringing his thumbs pretty close to his armpits, and his fingertips aren't coming down too high up of the water. Yeah, and that's Trent. Yeah, so Trent was just showing us the arms, and so the next step from that is learning how to breathe. So when you're breathing, you're obviously not going to inhale when you're underneath the water because you're just going to take in a bunch of water. And we don't want anyone to do that. We don't want our lifeguard over there to have to jump in and save everyone. So when it comes to breathing, when your head's out of the water, you're going to be inhaling, and when your head's in the water, you're going to be exhaling. When you're breathing, you're not dunking your head in and coming up and breathing, and then dunking your head up and coming up and breathing. Trent, you want to show us what that looks like?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So as you can tell, his body's moving a lot, and it's not really, there's no rhythm to it. So when you're breathing, you guys can try this after, but you're gonna keep your head down, and you're gonna just tilt your head up, whichever side's the most comfortable, just so your nose and your mouth are out of the water, you can get a breath. So why don't we try it? You just keep your face in the water, and then go to the left, take a breath, and yeah. Yeah, so yeah, guys, so the one thing about this is that you should be able to do this without having to bring your whole head up and take a really huge breath. You should be able to just do this consistently. You should be getting a sufficient amount of air when you tilt your head to the side. So do you guys have any questions about the breathing aspect of it, or the arms? Yeah.
Is there a certain amount of strokes you should do before you breathe?
It's a good question. I was just going to get to that. Anyone else have any other questions?
What was the question, Eric?
His question was, is there a certain amount of strokes that we need to do before or during while we breathe?
Great, thank you.
Does anyone else have a, yeah, Jay?
Which phase of where your arms are at is the best place to breathe, most efficient place to breathe?
So that's going to be during your recovery process. So I'll get into that right now, actually. So when it comes to doing your arms and breathing, it all depends on how much what's comfortable for you and how much you want to hold your breath. So some people will do 2 or 3 strokes in between and then alternate sides. Or some people, for example, I'll do 2 strokes and then breathe on the same side consistently done. So this is where the rhythm aspect of breathing comes into play. So you're going to be breathing on the recovery part. So when your hand comes out of the water, you're going to tilt your head to that side. You're not going to tilt your head to the other side. So we're doing recovery. So it's going to, Trent will show us what it looks like to breathe. So he's going to have his head, and then he's going to work his recovery is. So he does 3 strokes and he alternates every 3. You can do 2 strokes, 4 strokes, and breathe on the same time at the same on the same side the whole time. So why don't we just try that, just in place, just going through the arm motions and just working on our breathing. Keep your head down. All right, guys, so next we're gonna be doing this with a pull buoy. So if you guys have goggles and wanna get them, now would be the appropriate time to do that. If not, you guys can share within your lane lines. But we have some extra goggles that Trent's gonna get for you guys. I think we only need 1 pair, Trent.
Okay.
Or Haley, do you have goggles?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, just in case we don't need a pair.
No, we
Nice.
need a pair.
We need more.
I have a big hand.
Or you guys would just switch off like between
Oh, okay.
people, yeah. And just, if you guys are borrowing goggles, just make sure to return them because most of them aren't ours, they're pools.
Yeah, we're swimming.
So yeah, if you guys can turn around and look at Trent, he's going to explain how to use the pull buoy and how to swim with it.
So when we first learned about the kicking, we utilized the kickboard and we went back and forth just focusing on that motion. And this next portion is going to be similar in that we're just going to be focusing on the swimming motion, the arms. And so we're going to be using this buoy right here. This is going to go in between our legs and we're going to squeeze it, hold it there. It's going to help provide a little bit of flotation for our legs and then as well as give us a tactile cue to hold our legs there and not kick. So we're going to be holding this and then doing that same arm stroke that Eric talked about. So just recapping a little bit, starting up here, extending down, bringing the arm back, keeping it nice and close to the armpit. We're doing that same one all the way through. Every 3 strokes, we're going to be taking a breath. And we're going to give you guys a little bit of a practice time too. So again, we're going to use just this first half of the pool. But before we do that, I want to have Eric do a quick demonstration. Come on back, Eric. See how he's squeezing the buoy, keeping the legs nice and straight. Well done, Eric. So any questions before we put that to practice? No?
So just remember to incorporate the rhythmic breathing that I was talking about earlier, and whatever's comfortable for you. And yeah, so you guys can go up to the lifeguard tower again and try it out. Let's have everyone go once and then we'll
Are you a free diver? Do you think you can make it from here to the end of the pool underwater? I can get in back. Oh, yeah, that's where it is.
Hey, wait, there's another pair of goggles behind you. Yeah, you guys can use those. And you guys can like rotate the goggles too, because I see some of you guys are kind of struggling without them. So So just a couple mistakes or things not to do that I saw. A lot of you guys, when you were swimming, it wasn't very, I guess, in a sense, aerodynamic or water dynamic. A lot of you guys are just coming, splashing the water, and not really. You want to go in smooth, dig in, so you can propel yourself. Because if you slop the water, it's going to cause a lot of drag. Another thing I saw was that a lot of straight arms when you're swimming. So obviously a lot of this. Remember, just try to keep the thumb to the elbow and dig in, and so you can really initiate that in sweep phase that will propel you forward. Do you guys have any questions about the arms, or is that pretty straightforward?
Can we maybe do another practice?
Yeah, we're gonna let you guys do another practice round. Just wanted to give some corrections so you guys don't build too many bad habits.
We appreciate that.
All right, guys. So I want everyone to go twice this time, and try that out again. Down to the lifeguard. From there, power back. Wow.
Everyone go twice.
It's worse out. I was freezing when I was explaining that last time,
I know. It's right there.
Alright, everyone go twice. Let's go, Michelle.
No, Dustin, put that head on me.
Great breath work.
All good. Hopefully that was confident.
We'll only go once.
Well done, Carlos. I like it.
All right, guys. Yeah, that's looking really, really good. Still a little bit of slapping, but there wasn't as much slapping of the water as the first time, and not as much straight arms. But just remember, I still see a couple of you guys just still straight arming it. So, as much as you can, try to keep the elbows or the thumbs to the armpits. So yeah, now that we've done all three of those, we're pretty much going to try to put it together. So we're going to try to incorporate the legs with the arms, and Trent is going to show us what it looks like. Or something there going down the back. Comes back.
Beautiful.
How are you going to twist? Without turning that, Whatever the
That is good, Trent.
All right, guys. So yeah, that's pretty much what you do. We're trying to do the next Michael Phelps over here. So yeah, this time we're actually going to go through it twice. So come down and back, and then everyone's going to go through this twice, and then that'll conclude our lesson. So. Go for it.
Form goes out the window.
Go, Matthew.
I just breathed. Yep. What's the horn? Details.
that one breath. That one breath. I know, like, kick off the ground. Wait, gotta go to the thing and back and there and back.
It's swimming so hard.
Good job. I did that the first time.
I'm like, yeah. Go Jordan, let's see it.
Yeah, there he is. Hard to come back. Just what? Hard to come back.
All right, let's finish this up, Jordan. All right, guys. So one thing that I did see was that some of you guys were kind of forgetting to kick. You guys are just trying to do a lot of arm work. So don't forget to incorporate both of those together. But other than that, it's looking good for day one. So just to conclude this, really, the swimming and freestyle is just really good for non-impact active recovery. Like Trent stated before, it takes a lot of stress off the joints, and you see a lot of athletes who are injured actually come in to the pool and do some aqua jogging or some swimming just to, as a kind of therapy. So yeah, do you guys have any questions about swimming or the freestyle before we get out of the pool?
No, sir.
Any questions about the technique, or if you guys are confused about anything?
We're going to come out here, and if you guys want to get in the sun, that's fine, but we're going to spend some time talking about what took place. Trent, if you could real